the judge and I are standing together. We both recognize that these are very challenging times. In fact, let me go one step further. We are in a healthcare crisis. And in order not to prolong this crisis, in order to blunt the progression of this virus, we both recognize that steps need to be taken in order to slow the progression, to blunt it, so that we are not in this situation longer than we need to be. In the city of Houston, we have 24 cases. Doesn't mean that there are only 24. There are more than 24. We all know that. But the goal that we are taking is so in the city of Houston, we don't have 2,400 cases or 24,000 cases. And the best time to take the steps that are being put forth, the best time is right now. We don't have the luxury of waiting 2 weeks down the road and then deciding that this is the time to take these steps. Will it impose an additional inconvenience on many of the people in our region? Yes. Are those inconveniences worth it? Yes. Do we have a choice based on the healthcare advice and that we are given? No. Did we come to this point easily? No. But is it important for people within our respective regions, for people in Houston and Harris County and even beyond, to recognize that this situation is serious and to recognize that if we don't act and act now, then the situation will only get worse. And we keep talking about flatten the curve, but it's important that we do that through our actions and through our behavior. Let me say the Stay Home, Work Safe order is a more strategic way to blunt the progression of COVID-19 and balance the needs of families, businesses, and the city's economic interests. The new order means people must stay at home, except when they need to conduct essential businesses and activities. But the requirement for social distancing remains in effect, whether you're at work or whether you're away from work. The requirement for social distancing remain in effect. You must stay 6 feet away from others. If you work in a critical infrastructure industry, you have a special responsibility to maintain your normal work schedule, which is in the best interest of the community. The Stay Home, Work Safe order exempts essential workers covered in the 16 CISA categories, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency. They are the people who work in transportation and logistics to maintain our safe drinking water, communications and technology, and commercial and residential construction, and many more. Houston is the energy capital of the world. We have the largest medical center in the world and the #1 port in terms of foreign tonnage, and we are proud of that. Those critical workers and others will be allowed to continue moving back and forth through the community because we must balance our healthcare concerns with economic realities. But even though in those particular essential industries, they are being allowed to continue to work, while they are at work, they must be safe and must employ as best as possible the social distancing and other requirements, and we expect them to do that. For others, Stay Home, Work Safe means employers are encouraged to let their team work remotely from home where possible. People working from home do not have to shelter in place or feel as though that they can't move around. You still can go to the grocery stores, to the pharmacist, to the gas station, seek medical treatment. And I want to be very clear on this because we've said over and over again that the grocery stores would not shut down. And they are not shutting down. Even with this order, the grocery stores remain open. The food supply chain remains sound. Okay, it remains sound. But even as you go to the grocery store or to the pharmacist, you still must engage in social distancing because that still becomes very important. Otherwise, we are defeating the very purpose that we are trying to achieve. Residents can also go outside to run, walk, and exercise. if they practice social distancing and stay at least 6 feet away from other individuals. Now, Judge Hidalgo indicated that we are keeping the parks open. And we recognize that people are just not going to, in a sense, stay right there in their homes, that they need to walk outside in their communities, in their neighborhoods, and will go to the parks. But let me put a cautionary note here. That does not mean that you can flood the parks and crowd the parks and not engage in social distancing. If you go to the parks, then you need to be responsible. You need to continue to maintain the social distancing. And if you do not do that, then again, we are working against each other's interests. We are both trying, all of us are trying to be flexible and recognize the social dynamics and the human dynamics, but you still must exercise individual responsibility. If we work together, we can get on top of COVID-19, and the sooner we can stop the progression, the sooner we can all return to our normal way of life. And let me just say in closing, my destiny is in your hands, and your destiny is in my hands. And where we go from here, in large part, will depend on how we now change our behavior to recognize the crisis that we are in. And it is serious, and we have to take it serious. But one thing that I know about Houston, Harris County, and our surrounding region, that when people are given the truth, and when we're asked to do something, we get it done. And this is one time when we're asking people within our respective regions to stand together, to operate responsibly, and let's blunt the progression of this virus. And let's do it now without having to look back 2 weeks from now or a month from now and regret that we did not take the necessary action when we could have. We're in this together. We'll come out of it together. And in the end, this area and this region will continue to grow and prosper. The best days for all of us still yet to come.